So, I am Mr. Caldwell here. We're going to talk about some of our formalities. In fact, you just saw one of them there as I entered the room. When we enter our classroom, we like to bow. And the reason we bow is because this is a room of respect. This is a room where we are going to set certain rules for ourselves, certain ways we want to behave, certain attitudes, in fact, that we want to draw forth in ourselves so that we can get the most out of our practice, so that our classmates can get the most out of their practice, and as a school, we can work together. And so a lot of times students will ask me, why do we bow at the door? And I will tell them just that we bow at the door for two reasons. First, we are telling the room and the students in the room that we are ready to offer respectful practice for today. And then two, we're telling ourselves, listen, this is a special place. This is a place where I'm going to be patient with others, I'm going to be patient with myself, and I'm going to do my best. So when we bow at the door, that is what we're doing. In fact, we'll also bow as we exit the room, again, to kind of turn off that attitude and help us get back into the real world, as it were. It's one of those things where if somebody hits me on accident in here, I'm a little annoyed. Somebody hits me on accident out there without the bow, I'm a lot annoyed. So the bow tells us a lot. Now, that being said, let's talk about the bow briefly. Just so you know, I probably should have clipped toenails for this so that I look even better. But that being said, here's my attention stance. My attention stance is heels together, nice and tall. My toes will be slightly apart. If I hold my toes together, it actually becomes a bit of an unnatural way to stand, and it becomes kind of easy over time to lose your balance. So you want your toes to be apart. A lot of styles will say fist space or whatever. Nobody, I hope, is going to come around and measure how far apart your feet are. So I usually just say a natural distance. If it's natural for you to have your feet a little closer, a little farther, it really doesn't matter that much. Have your toes apart. Be standing naturally with your knees straight but not locked, your shoulders back, and your hands typically at your sides. Some styles like you to have fists, others knife hands. Actually, it doesn't much matter to me. I don't mind relaxed hands at attention stance. So from attention stance, let's move to our first ready stance. Our first ready stance, we will touch our toes together. I do that to get my alignment correct because when I move my feet shoulder width apart, I prefer to have both toes parallel into the distance. I don't prefer to have my toes off towards separate targets because then when I go to horse stance, I have to think, okay, how do I get everything reoriented? So for me, here, and then when I've bowed, when I've done whatever I need to in attention stance, I'll touch my toes together and I'll move to that ready stance. Typically those hands will go down. You'll see all sorts of things, all sorts of styles. People will tell you to break boards. You know, again, I think everyone can work his or her style, their style, the way they prefer it. I actually usually just bring my hands down fairly relaxed. Me, the readiness in the stance is about the way I'm thinking. And it also is a little bit more subtle, perhaps. When I'm in my ready stance, I do not have my weight back. I'm not sure how visible that will be. I'm not standing with weight on my heels. If I think about my feet, I can think about my toes and my heels. I don't have my weight evenly distributed. I don't have my weight on my heels. In fact, I have probably about, you could slip a business card under my heels at this point because I want to be at that readiness where if somebody moves at me or if I have to create technique, I mustn't be back on my heels. There's a reason that's a cliche. Oh, he was back on his heels. It's because it's not good. You're always going to react more slowly. So it's a very subtle thing, but for me, this has even weight distribution. As soon as I'm in my actual ready stance, I'm very slightly on my toes. If I'm confronted, if somebody is confronting me and I want to be ready, if I get ready like this, traditionally that means like, oh, it is on. And if I've got somebody that's going to be aggressive to me, they now have permission to be aggressive to me. If I'm a little concerned that they're going to be aggressive, I can get ready down here and be ready to move immediately and defensively without kind of showing that I'm in a full fighting stance. And so for me, that's what the ready stance, the first ready stance represents. It's that moment where I understand this guy is really hot. This might go south that quick. At the same time, I don't want to say, I dare you to hit me by getting into a full guard. I want to be here and ready to defend myself. So, there you go. Attention stance, I'm paying attention. I'm listening to instructions, etc., etc. Ready stance, so now I'm actually kind of in an environment where I think I might be in danger. And then I'm ready to move into my formal technique. So I think those are the two formal stances that I would focus on first. The attention stance, so that we can listen well, we can bow correctly and respectfully. And then that first ready stance, where we're moving past just listening and into that idea of being ready with our mind, very slightly and subtly ready with our body in order to move into technique. So, very well done. Remember, there is a best martial art. It is the one that you practice. Have a good day.